What's up, guys? I am 89.867% sure we're live over here on my YouTube channel. That's pretty high. I'm confident.
Yeah, I see what you did there, though.
I'm confident in it. So, yeah, we got a heck of a program today for everybody. As you guys can see, to my left, your right, we are joined today by the Deadside community manager Loaf. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? Hello, everybody.
It's Monday,
Loaf.
but the worst part of it's over, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Blue, how are you doing, man?
Good. Just enjoying life.
Nice. Well, as you guys can probably see below me, for topics today, we're going to chat with Loaf for a little bit about Deadside. Probably get into some history, present, as well as what most folks are probably interested in, the future of the game and where it's headed and stuff like that. If you aren't familiar with the game, I suggest you stick around. We'll talk about it. We'll play some clips in the background, some gameplay and stuff. Off the top of my head, I would have to say it's definitely like probably the most pretty, like the coolest looking survival game out there. I love the graphics and the vibe and the feel of it. And I've had some fun times in Deadside. So we're going to talk to him about that. And then later on, we'll get into some of the Division 3 stuff. I know it's really early, but that's kind of what we do here is we talk about shit way too early. But I mean, what's the fun in not doing that? And then we're going to talk a little bit about Boundary and then whatever comes up as we go along. So that's the story. If you guys want to check out Loaf's content, links to the Deadside Twitter, which he runs, is in the description or the show notes, as well as his YouTube channel. That link is in the description and the show notes, wherever you're listening and or watching. Check it out and follow along with what Loaf's up to. We're going to find out live. All right, Blue, kick us off, man. Where are we going? Where are we headed?
All right. First of all, vehicles win. Just kidding.
Oh, right at it. Just right at it.
All right. No, I mean, what? Because I know you guys have been working on a lot lately. But first, I guess before we get into all that, explain your role right now, currently, what you've done for the game, and how long you've been playing the game as well too. Because you weren't always a community manager, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I played the game, I think, a week after release 3 years ago. I think a little over, close to 4 now. It's insane
Was
to
it
think about.
2018 when it released, something like that?
2020. But
2020? It was 2020. I'm thinking another game.
I mean, do you want the full story of like the YouTube start or just
I mean, yeah, well, because like, so you originally started playing this game on your YouTube channel. This is like was this your first ever YouTube game or YouTube channel that you did, or
first public one under this name? Yeah, I've had other YouTube channels in the past, but not really focused on gaming content, actually, surprisingly. But yeah, I was just playing this game with a few random people I met in the Deadside server I played on, which in of itself is kind of an interesting thing that you can meet people so easily in this game. That's something I really enjoyed about it. But yeah, I was just playing, messing around, and they suggested I should, because I record videos anyways, just for fun. They're like, hey, you should make a video on the game, and I ended up putting it on the Deadside Reddit, and it did surprisingly well. So I just kept making YouTube content. But I've also always been interested in game development, game design, that sort of thing. So I started making videos talking about the problems that the game has, ideas I have for the game, just general criticisms, right? And I kept doing that for a while, basically through COVID, because I had nothing better to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I had a good time. And eventually, I forget exactly when, I don't remember if it's in 21 or 22, because my memory's not great on this sort of thing, but Deadside got picked up by Tiny Build. And when that happened, they're looking to hire a lot more people, and they saw my videos, they saw the criticisms I have for the game, and they're like, hey, we should get this guy to come in and work on some stuff. So I didn't start out as a community manager, I started out as a game design person, and I spent, I think, 6 to 7 months redesigning the recoil system in the game. It went from a very basic box that the game just randomly selects a place to put your weapon to a much more refined system. It's still not perfect. I actually want to work on it more. After finishing that, we decided to have me basically take over the role that Lucas was doing previously, who was the previous lead
Correct.
community manager.
Yeah.
That way, he would have a lot more time to do anti-cheat, which is very important in this sort of game. So he has all of his time to dedicate towards anti-cheat. He's just an anti-cheat community manager.
Doing the Lord's work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's fun stuff.
Because you guys use easy anti-cheat, yeah.
We do, and it does work pretty well, despite what some people might say.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's a big difference since the first year,
yeah.
I would say.
Dude, this game didn't release with any cheat, so
yeah, exactly.
But now he has all of his time to dedicate towards that, because you do have to do manual cheater hunting sometimes. There's people making their own private cheats, and whenever a new cheat comes out, you got to track them down. Anyways, he can just do that. I can do the community management side, which is really nice. And that's where we are today. That's what I do for Deadside.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool. I really like to see that. Sorry. Oh man, I'm sorry.
No,
I think that's cool. There's a few indie games that are like that, where like content creators stepped into like community manager roles, and I don't know. It's really cool to see. I like it. I just wanted to say that.
I mean, I love it. It's great. I'm just super happy. Like, I am where I am right now. Love it.
So we then, after that, of course, working on the game, stuff like that, which, by the way, the weapon recoil, I remember when he first showed it to me, such a big difference, and made the gunfight seem a little bit more not super random, you know? And then, of course, now you have, well, I guess the team has 0.7.0 that just released on the 13th, if I remember.
Sounds right.
Yeah. That sounds all right.
Couple weeks.
And did you work on that player fatigue as well, too, or?
I actually didn't. I helped test it. We do internal testing of a lot of stuff. And of course, we do closed testing as well with members of the community. But I've been involved with that. I didn't do the design work myself. I know who did. I can't shout his name out, but it's great.
That's fine. Shout out to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really nice change. A lot less frustrating now.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that. Heck, I even noticed, I was just playing today, and I noticed the way the AI has been updated, has been improved, correct? Like, I wasn't like seeing things the way they were like flanking around.
Yeah, they're a lot different.
Way different. I mean, they're not, I mean, I can actually sneak around a building now.
Yeah, that's true. Sneaking is a lot easier. They're not so, well, they don't seem like cheaters anymore, to be honest.
Just 180 no scopes through bush, of course.
Yeah.
That's got to be a
actually
huge
the same
challenge.
Designer. Sorry,
AI. What? I feel like AI is a huge challenge. Like a lot of games, that's a weak spot, and I'm assuming that's such a hard thing to design.
Yeah, it is. I can think of a couple games that are having trouble with AI currently.
Same.
And I don't blame them, because it's a complicated process. And our AI is still definitely not even close to finished, to be completely honest. We have a lot more we want to do with them.
I mean, you guys get a lot of that's like the main part of the game that usually gets maybe the most criticism when people think about Deadside. I think probably one of the main reasons why. I mean, sadly, it's sitting at mixed reviews, but you know, there definitely are mixed opinions on this game.
Yeah, the mixed reviews thing we can talk about later with the whole safe zone disabling, because
that's true. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. Yeah, but you know what? Because you just opened it up, and you know, it's there. You open up the camera because it isn't. It is an option that can be turned on and off.
Yes.
So what's the deal? What's the why do people find that as a big issue when it's up to? Because you go on the official servers, safe zone's on. You can use the traders perfectly fine. It's only for private servers.
Yeah. So I guess we should explain what we're talking about to people watching, because it is kind of a little weird concept to understand.
Correct. Yeah.
But Deadside has safe zones where you can store gear. There's traders there. You buy gear at these traders, and a lot of people tend to live out of these safe zones because you don't have to build a base that way. You can progress. The safe zones can't be raided, which causes some issues with the gameplay loop that further down the line. But when was it? I think last month we decided to do a public test with removing the safe zones, just to see how people react to it really, because it didn't take us very long to do this, right? I think the same day we finalized, like, we're doing this idea is the same day it was done. Like, it was done in a couple hours. So
Yeah.
let's try this. And I think the reason why people reacted negatively, I think, is actually a bit of a mistake on my part. I assumed people would read the first sentence of a Steam post and not just the title. But I think people just read mainly the title,
Too
which
much
says,
credit.
yeah, it just says green zone PTS safe zone removal. So people are like, oh, they're removing the safe zone. This sucks. So you saw tons of comments like, don't remove the safe zone, which is fair because not everybody wants to play a game mode like that. I think Crash, you mentioned that you're not a huge fan of that, right?
That's scary.
It is.
I mean, I mean, I definitely could see, of course, like the whole reason of like, especially playing it for, I think I would say, almost 500 hours in the game, surprisingly.
Nice.
And I definitely could see how you can use that without building a base and using that to progress.
Yeah.
I like the idea of maybe just turning off your storage and just letting you have to like buy stuff, and then but you have to take it back to your base, you know?
Yeah, I like that idea too. I think in time you'll end up seeing servers using it, but how long that will be, we will see. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting feature. The whole community reaction to it is a bit unfortunate because I do think it is actually a very cool thing to put in the game as just an option for unique servers. But
it's just an
reaction
option.
was it was just so negative that we're like, it's kind of just hidden. Because I don't know if you know this. If you go in the server browser, there is an option you have to click to show the hardcore servers instead of unclicking to not show it. It's just you can't see them by default.
Is that
some people go in it? Yeah, they're not gonna accidentally go into a hardcore.
Is that one of the most challenging aspects of like being a community manager is dealing with like negative reactions like that? Because if you look at that whole situation, you literally just gave the server admins more tools and more flexibility to play the game how they want to, and it made people mad. Like how do you like mentally deal with that kind of stuff? I can't imagine.
For the team as well, you know.
Yeah, I don't think the team has to deal with it too much. I don't really mind, honestly. I guess I'm the type of person just to blow that stuff off because I'm like, I don't know, they didn't read the Steam post. Oh well.
Smart.
But yeah, it is. I do take fault for it a little bit because I assumed they would read the Steam post. But yeah, it is definitely one of the, I think probably the biggest challenge in all of community management is just dealing with negative reactions, negative people, and managing that really, because it's going to happen. You can't avoid it. It's always going to be there. It's just something you got to accept. You just want to try to minimize it as much as possible. So,
I always thought that would be tough. What would so rough week. Like? I know I'm going a little bit out of order, but for people who are new, we probably have a few listeners that aren't super familiar with the game itself. What would be your elevator pitch for the game? Like to explain to those people in a little bit of like what it actually is.
That'd be helpful.
Yeah. I guess it would. So, okay, Deadside is in the open world survival vein of shooters. So, big open world, big multiplayer servers. I think you have 50, and it does follow the sort of the same format you're used to, right? You spawn in, you go to a town, you get a gun, and you go PvP and do all your stuff. But I think what makes Deadside unique is a few things. You already mentioned that it looks very pretty, and that's because it's in Unreal Engine 4. I do think it looks pretty nice and runs pretty well for what it is too. But Deadside also has AI. The AI bots are just straight up human AI, where I think most other games in this genre, they have zombies. There's some games that have even like
mutants or
giant robots. I think I'm thinking of Scum for that.
Scum, yeah.
This game is pretty grounded, and it has just normal human AI, and it has missions that you go to on the map, and these are basically big PvE areas that you can go to. But the key here is that those PvE areas attract PvP. So you get this unique PvPvE that I really can only think of Deadside when you think of that sort of situation. I don't know if any other game does that. I think that's a strength.
Unless it's like modded into the like certain DayZ servers will mod missions into their servers. But yeah, base game, I can't. Yeah, Scum doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Daisy doesn't do that. I can't think of any other like big survival game that does any of that. So
yeah, feel free to tell me. Feel free to tell me I'm dumb, but it feels like kind of like the game loop or the mechanics of it are more like you would see in an extraction shooter, but you don't have that extraction type loop and that progression. It's survival. But
yeah, that's another good thing to mention is that the gunplay and the character movement, it's more streamlined than your normal, very intensive survival game.
You know what? I can recommend. I can see people comparing it more to Rust than anything else, because Rust definitely has those PvE that attracts PvP as well. In fact, I would say I feel like Deadside is just a more, because it's like the whole area in general. I know it's technically the country of Norway or something along those lines, right? Yeah. So, but it's very Eastern European.
Oh yeah.
Feel and everything, the guns, the vehicles around, stuff like that. So it's not as like Rust has like AKs with a shovel as their stock. So it's
you did bring up a really good point though that I would like to reiterate. It's approachable. Like it's a survival shooter, but it's not like so annoying that you have to like, and I don't want to call any of them out, but I'll say like some of the mechanics in some survival shooters are just flat out tedious. They're just tedious. Well, I'm not too familiar with all of them, but I've seen some of them and heard some of them. It's like, I don't want to do that in a video game. This game, if you play other shooters, the gunplay is going to make sense. You have to eat and drink water. That's a given. Like, and then you're just going. Like, it's easy to get immersed into because it's pretty, and the mechanics don't get in the way of that. And that's like how one of my favorite strengths of it is it's a survival game that you can just get into and start playing. You don't have to spend like weeks and hours trying to figure out exactly what to do, worrying about metabolism, this, that, eating the certain thing, and like super stuff that's just crazy. So that's why I like. It's like an approachable survival genre game that you don't have to be terrified. You don't have to put in 40 hours before you can even start playing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think that's a very good point, and we just recently with Leo 7.0, we added a complete tutorial system to walk you through starting in the game. That'll track your progress, tell you what you need to do next. You can turn it on.
I was about to say that I was trying out the tutorial, and I think it's very helpful for new players.
Yeah. And then we have our official wiki too, which I've worked a lot on, which hopefully helps people. I think that's also more for more experienced players though, which you can put a lot of time into this game too and get very into it. So it does have some of that long-term playability. I do think it needs more, but it's definitely not too simple,
Yep.
I know that's the issue with like extraction games in general. Of just like once you get the best gear, same thing with Deadside too. I feel like has that issue. Once you get the best gear and your base is set up and everything, then what?
I think the goal for us is to do things like raiding, or eventually maybe even some sort of vehicle collection.
Well, raiding's in the game already, just for people who are listening. Yeah,
it is. It's just I think eventually in the future it'll just change a lot. I think the rating you see now is not its final version. It'll be similar, but
yeah,
it's fun though. I enjoy raiding in Deadside. I think everybody should try it. It is challenging. It's a challenging task.
It's an interesting take with the whole raid token of the whole player dropping it, and then once you activate it, you have that hour to look for it in that radius of a red circle, which is, it lets everyone else on the map know, hey, there's a raid going on this area. There's gonna probably be some loot lying around.
Yeah, exactly. If you're the raider, though, it's not the best because you don't know which base you're actually going for. So
that's unless because I always compare it to Rust as well too, where it's like usually the only way you find out if that base is the person that you want to raid is by following that person back to their base and seeing if they go in and stuff like that, or kind of just guessing as well too. So it's nice that it gives like at least a general area. Okay, it's one of these bases here, and depending on the server, it could be the only base in that area as well too.
Yeah,
So,
let's see.
I don't see too much of an issue, but I definitely would like to see that in a different way. I think the whole, I mean, you did change explosives as well too. It's now now you have the cell phone added as well too, so it just seems a little bit more like, yes, this seems like an IED almost.
Yeah, the cell phone is actually kind of an important item because it forces you to go to not the highest tier areas in the game because they don't spawn there that often. They spawn more in industrial spots, they spawn in hunting spots. Like, it, even in the long term, you still have to go to those areas because you still need cell phones. It helps spread out the loophole because before you could just go to one spot in the map, run around in a circle, then come out with 10 explosive charges. And you just do that over and over again.
Pretty much, yeah.
The old min-maxing. So what are some of the newer things to the game, and what are some of the things coming? I'm wanting to get into some of that stuff because I've seen wolves on Twitter. Since I played the first time and the second time is massively different. The game devs owe me a mouse. I think I wore out a mouse chopping trees like the first time I played it, but we won't get into that. But yeah, like the base building and stuff got a lot better. Got a lot more fluid, and I enjoyed that. Since I played last, they added boats. They added all the waterways to get around fast. They added hunting, which I love shooting ducks in real life and in the game. Like, so, like, there's a lot of stuff happening. So, what's being added? Like, what has been added? I see the wolves. Like, there's lots of stuff.
Okay, yeah. I think since you've last played, we've added 2 new guns. So, HK417, PP2000. Those are fun. We've reworked a lot of stuff too. So some of the stuff you're coming back to is going to be a lot different than what you're maybe used to. The convoys now are even more scary, which I don't know if you ran into those your first time around.
They were the hardest thing in the game, I feel like, AI wise.
Yeah, now there is 16 of them.
Well, now, and now they flank. So
there's that. There's boats. There's inflatable boats. These small 2-person boats that are very fast. There's the big swamp boats, which are a bit slower but more durable. They hold more fuel. They also have inventories now, which is very nice. Boat inventory.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's actually a very important technical feature that we needed to figure out, having inventories and vehicles. Because let's say we release cars and it doesn't have a trunk to put stuff in. I think people would be a little disappointed. So that's something we need to figure out first. Yeah.
And the vehicle locks as well too.
Yeah, vehicle locks. In.
I know people were having issues of getting their boats stolen and stuff like that. So
we've got fish now, which some people hate for some reason. We've got.
I don't know.
I know some people love. I've noticed that you have like 2 major crowds with this game. You have the PvP crowd and then the PvE only crowd. It's hard to try to kind of please both, but I think all of it works together in cohesion with each other anyways.
Yeah.
Because now you have, especially with, the drinking and what was it, satiation? I know it's supposed to be like it was like I don't know if that's how it's like written in the game, but basically your thirst. And what was it? The idea of just like now there's not that many, cans of food laying around, stuff like that. Like in order to properly PvP, you need to be well hydrated, well fed in order to have, I would assume, also like longer stamina as well too. Or just like hold breath and stuff like that, if you're not sprinting like 24/7 as well too. So a lot of that comes into play. I feel like, especially with now you need to go out and hunt. You need to go find water wells. You need to make a base, probably most likely, and get like a little water collector.
Yeah, it's all an intricate web of stitching all these features together, getting players to do everything at once through the gameplay loop instead of one thing at a time, which you see more in I guess, earlier development games. Gotta have everything. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. Maybe I'm going too far out here, but
no, it makes sense, especially for how small the team is as well too.
Yeah, we are growing. We're growing. I see, how many people do we have?
In part to tiny bit, I would assume, right?
What's that?
Helping with the time once you guys teamed up with Tiny Build, the funding probably helped out for sure. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Before they got picked up by Tiny Build, I think the game probably, or Bad Pixel, which is the studio, probably, I think they had around 10 people, maybe a little bit more, 10, 15. I'm not sure because I wasn't there yet, right?
But yeah, no, that seems about right.
Yeah, it was. I think for the first year it was 7 guys, which is not very much for a game of this scale. It's nothing, honestly. So
I mean, multiplayer games in general are tough.
Yeah, but especially a big multiplayer game like this with a lot of netcode and a lot of large maps. I think now that Tiny Build's picked us up, the studio's at least doubled in size. I think a little more so, especially if you count people that help from Tiny Build and aren't exactly part of our studio. They just come in to help with things every now and then. We have a lot more resources, which allows us to do a lot more cool stuff, like adding wolves and redesigning guns.
Yeah.
Can you eat the wolves?
I was gonna say that.
Oh yeah,
you can.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I can't. I'm not confirming that 100%. But
well, you got deer as well too, because on the roadmap it shows the big. What is that? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 point stag.
It's
Looks
like large.
Yeah.
I mean,
big old boy.
Yeah, you're gonna have stuff to hunt for sure. Big animals in the woods. I mean, the wolves have to eat something outside of people, right?
True.
That's probably all I'll be doing. To be honest,
literally, seriously, it reminds me of like the older, like Rust Legacy days of when that game was being developed. That game was nothing like it is now, and it's probably one of the most popular games now. And it had like, I remember when they first introduced hunting and killing animals and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see like this same, not the same path, but like you guys are working on the roadmap and it's doing pretty good. I mean, you guys showcased prone as well too.
Oh yeah, that's
are people taking that well?
Yeah, better than I thought actually. There's a few vocal people who really don't like prone because they say it will make camping worse, which I don't really believe that. To be honest, I think people will camp anyways.
I was gonna say, yeah, I think that's if people weren't about camping now, it wouldn't change if it was added or not. Yeah.
But I think a lot of the people in that hardcore PvP crowd, when they realized that how many new angles are going to open up because of this in all the zones they're used to PvPing, like, oh, now I can lay down and shoot under this window through a door and get some crazy angle over here. Then they're like, okay, this is kind of cool. Yeah, we're working on prone. I think we'll see it relatively soon. I can't say exactly. It's, I think, a lot more complicated than people realize because there's complicated character, I think animation trees, and if you don't route everything correctly, it breaks.
Man, I'm that idiot. I'm that guy. I'm like, why can't they just add it?
What?
I'm just like, it's gotta be that. Just do it. It's another game.
Well, I've noticed like there's a certain time from standing straight up to prone. I would assume like the guy, it looked like the guy was like putting his hand down as well too. Yeah. So you got to add that as well too, and then getting back up as well too.
Well, not even that. It's the weapon animations too. You need to rework every weapon animation in the entire game.
That's true.
It's more forward now.
Oh yeah,
position, moving around, and we have a lot of guns. I think we have 27. Oh.
That's true. 28. That's true. So for every single gun, including as you add new ones.
And then you got collision. So you can see how you get more into game design. Everything becomes so much more complicated.
It's not just prone and stick my gun through a wall.
Yeah, or you prone down and get stuck into the map or something, into a rock or oh jeez. Okay.
Or using prone to exploit through bases or something like that.
Oh, to crawl underneath.
I remember when that was a thing in the beginning, people exploiting through bases and stuff. Yeah.
So
now,
so happy with that thing.
I remember when it was, man. It was so annoying. Yeah. But God, what was I gonna say? Because it was definitely like you had the prone, but I saw that the roadmap looked like it was the guy laying on his back, so like rolling over on your back as well too. Is that we're allowed to say anything about that? Or
I'm gonna say probably not. At least not right now.
I think
that was
okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I think it was just
a little image.
Yeah, it's just the. I think it was the art director that put that together. I mean, we didn't have a working prototype of prone yet, so just put something in.
I just thought that'd be cool. Like you go down, your guy's like dragging you and you're shooting as you're getting dragged. That would be kind of funny.
I have it.
Still, I mean, it almost looked like a down animation instead of just dying.
It does kind of look like that, yeah.
Is that I have it up on the screen. Is that new big city? Is that an actual shot of like the?
Yeah, that's real.
Oh, that's.
It's I think it's. So that big city is so large.
That one's gonna be, man.
It goes out of render distance.
Look at that
you
bridge.
can't see all of it.
Oh yeah, on the other side of the
that is by
river?
far the biggest map or biggest part of the map now. Yeah,
it's been a big
and render
undertaking.
distance is what, like over 400 or 500 meters in game
for players. For terrain it's a lot longer. Yeah, I think
a lot longer. Okay,
kilometer, probably more.
That is big.
Yeah, so here's some fun information that most people don't know about that big city. It is based on Pripyat, so you can see.
I knew it.
I told you.
I knew it.
I remember I told you, but yeah.
Oh, you did tell me. Yeah, but I mean, that kind of tough because of the school.
Yeah, schoolhouse number one.
Ferris wheel.
I don't think there's a Ferris wheel, but there is.
Is not a Ferris wheel?
Change
it. I could have sworn there was. I might have to double check. Only because like I remember when I forgot who showed me, like as admin, you can like teleport off the map and then see it. Could have swore I saw that, or maybe.
I don't think so.
Maybe I didn't.
Yeah, I remember the
buildings. The buildings itself looked very Eastern European.
Oh yeah, it's not as large as Pripyat because Pripyat is insanely huge, and it won't have the CNPP or was it CCNP? Chernobyl, the nuclear reactor.
The reactor, yeah. I was gonna say.
I don't do well with that.
No radiation coming to the game.
No, not yet. I would like that.
Yet. That'd be interesting.
I say that a lot. Don't take it too seriously.
Not yet.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that big city will be really cool. I'm excited for that. And we can keep going through the roadmap too.
Anything you want to clarify about that? Because I saw it's not just you got the city. You got looks like a little military construction site almost.
Oh yeah, on the other side of the river.
Yeah, because it's not just the city. Because you have across the bridge, and of course people were showing me screenshots of like you had the big city that was out of render distance, but you had these like little pockets of small villages almost. It looked like a residential neighborhood. That was kind of tough to tell what it was.
So you can't see it because if you're looking in, for people not familiar, there's an early version of that city currently in the game, and you can teleport outside if you have admin menu. So you get to see an early version, but you can't see under the ground when you do that. Under the ground, there's actually a couple more towns that you wouldn't know is there. So there's that as well. Yeah.
Dang, this is gonna be really big.
It's gonna be a full map expansion. I think they mentioned we're gonna be doing it in 2 updates. So 1 update you'll see part of the city and some peripheral things, and then you'll see a second map expansion after that. But,
got it. Now with that, people are probably gonna be with that though. I think people are gonna be a little bit more upset about vehicles.
Yep.
Now you got more running to do.
He's aware.
Which I assume you guys are. There's going to be rivers going near. You got the river going by the bridge anyway, so there is a waterway going to it. But I know people are going to be complaining. Well, okay, you got a huge city now. You got all these roads, but no vehicles yet. What's the thought process when you get asked those questions?
Well, I just think of the fact that we're working on cars. Not very much. It's not in. I guess I wouldn't say it's in full development where you have a bunch of people focusing on it. But we are, vehicles are specifically cars. People always say vehicles, it's cars. The team's been working on those for so long. I don't know if you know this, but I think pre-release alpha of Deadside had it was a Gaz or UAZ. I don't remember. It had a car.
Or four-door SUV. Yeah,
it's always been something we want to add, but it's just vehicle netcode is so annoying.
I mean, you guys delayed the boats for a bit as well too because of that.
Yeah, and I can go into detail about that too. That was a whole experience, but yeah, we're working on them. I don't know if we'll get vehicles done this year. We mentioned it in our roadmap post that we're working on them. If I had to guess, we probably won't have them this year. That's just my personal guess.
Which is, I mean, you got what? It's already September 25th.
Yeah, it's getting late in the year. But it is definitely a priority. I mean, it can't not be a priority with the sheer amount of people that spam "wear car" in every single post we make. we know. It's so funny too. It's the same people every time I make a post.
Big rig.
Thanks.
What's that? Big rig?
Thanks for the interaction and the impressions. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially on the Reddit. Oh my god, the Reddit's just filled with that.
Look,
don't go there.
Reddits are wonderful places.
Don't go to
full of beautiful
don't go
people.
to Reddit.
All subreddits are just amazing. And then,
but okay.
How many weapons are getting redesigned? The one thing I want to
find out eventually.
Oh, how many weapons are redesigning?
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Pretty much all of them.
Because so far we saw the SVD.
Yes, SVD, SCAR, AR4, and I think those are all the published ones. There's more that is unpublished.
So so every single weapon's getting redesigned, huh?
Pretty much. I mean,
it would make sense.
Added recently, but
yeah, not the recent ones, but like especially you can't just redesign all of them and then have like the Makarov looking like the way it is still.
Right. Yeah.
Even though they're not bad designs, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of them kind of are. I won't lie. I do not like the 1911.
When you look at them a little bit closer, yeah.
It doesn't have a firing pin. It's a flat back on the slide. Brings me pain.
Wait, what? Hold on.
Yeah.
Don't look
I don't think I've ever noticed that.
Now it just ruined the game for you. It's unplayable now until they update it.
It's unplayable.
Literally unplayable.
And a lot of the guns added early in development are assets from Unreal Store. So I think the MP5 in Deadside, I was playing Boneworks. I'm like, oh, it's the same MP5. Crazy. So you have that unimmersive bit to it where you're like, oh, I recognize this model, and then you're not playing the game anymore.
Got it.
So we're redesigning it. We actually have a dedicated weapon artist on the team now. That's one of the new people we've hired.
Wow.
So, yeah, nice. That's all they're doing.
And that's cool.
Which is good too, because I think some people were unhappy when they saw the weapon redesigns. They're like, hey, you shouldn't be working on that. You should be doing other stuff. It's like,
they still think it's just one guy developing the game over and over again.
Like, no, guys, it's a whole new person. It's not.
It's a pretty sizable team now. Yeah.
Everybody's a game director.
Even the wolf looks, the pictures of the wolves, is it that close up? The fur detail and the whiskers, like,
they look nice. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. I think
I want them. They look so friendly.
Production team,
everybody's saying they want to pet them. But
yeah, he probably could. He just wouldn't live to survive. But he wouldn't survive to tell the tale. But it's yeah.
That'll be a game changer though.
I can imagine now someone holding an angle. All of a sudden now they got to worry about wolves coming around instead of just people.
Yeah, even in areas that don't have AI are going to be dangerous, which is nice because there are areas that are kind of out there in the wild, I guess. And it wouldn't make sense.
You could run a long time and not see anyone.
Yeah. And it wouldn't make sense to have our AI patrols out there, right? So you're kind of just chilling, but now you have wolves. So there's always something to worry about now, which is good. I like that.
You got
in a survival game. Oh yeah.
You got you got wolves, you got deer, you got AI. Both, if I remember, they're security and bandits. Those are the two factions, right? I know people call them different. Some people call them scavs and military and stuff like that.
Yeah, these aren't official factions. These are just like the different types of AI we have, right?
Because there's not really like legit lore to the game yet.
No, there's not. Okay. So we don't want to have lore get in the way of game design. We just want to make whatever we think is fun. But yeah, I think there's three factions. There's the military, bandits, like you mentioned. I believe cannibals, which are like the more. I was
gonna get to that.
The more out there AI that you'll see.
Because then people were like, "Well, if you're adding cannibals, why not just add zombies? What would be the difference between the two?"
They don't bite you though. I guess that's the difference.
True. I'm thinking like when I think of cannibals, I think I just played Sons of the Forest recently, and I'm thinking like those kind of like tribal melee weapons, little tent huts and stuff like that. So especially with that island that did I show you, Crash, last time? Did I bring you there? I know you probably saw the video that I made.
I saw the video, but I don't think we went there. I think we were going to, and then we did.
Because when I first saw it for the first time. So every time there's an update, I always go back to that spot and check just to see if anything changed. And it's like basically the rock of like it's a weird monument with some blood splat in the middle, and then just a random scream.
Yeah,
it'll scream.
It will scream at you. Yes, very loud too.
Very loud.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder. about the can, because I remember when they were first announced, of like when people were, you guys brushed over it. I feel like it's gonna be bigger than people expect it to be. I mean, it's just a whole nother faction roaming the area now. And then you kind of, when I read the update and it was just like just brushed over, oh yeah, we have 3 factions. Oh, moving on to the next topic. It's like, whoa, go back, go back, go back. Hold on. Did you just say cannibals? Did you say people eating people?
Yeah. So I guess I wouldn't take it that literally. Well, I guess you can take it literally. They are cannibals, but in terms of gameplay, they're pretty similar to the other bandits. It's mainly a way to separate the different tiers of AI, right? You have the military, that's your highest tier. Well, I guess excluding all the crazy event AI like the convoys.
True,
you have your
that's
bandits,
like highest tier. Yeah.
Yeah. You have your bandits, which are sort of mid tier, kind of the guys you'd see with hunting rifles, with scopes, even sometimes with small AKs, AKSUs, stuff like that. And the cannibals are the low tier guys. They inhabit the towns. They're using pistols, usually wearing balaclavas and stuff like that. So I don't. It is cool to think of the lore.
Yeah, but not where you're gonna have like
no
one run with an axe.
Well, I would like to see that, but no, that's not going to happen. At least
because I feel like that would be interesting. Of just like, because you have, I know in game you have like the hunting outfit, and it looks like it's just covered in dried blood.
Yeah.
Which is probably just dirt, but still, like,
I mean,
it just looks like it would be, if someone coming with like a big knife or something.
I think that's just to build atmosphere, really, of just to remind you in your a post-apocalyptic world, I suppose.
True. Yeah. So, if anything, it reminds me more of like, I guess if I had to think about like the Raider cannibals from Fallout, where they shoot at you, they just happen to eat people.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. It's a tier of AI.
They just eat people.
They just have to eat people. You might see a foot here and there, but
That's awesome.
Nice.
Is there any chance of it ever being? This is a terrible question that you probably won't be able to answer, but I have to ask it. Is there any chance of it ever being ported to Unreal 5?
There is a chance, a small chance though. I'm not very familiar with the technical side of stuff like that. I mean, it gets incredibly technical, but it is possible, at least theoretically. I don't know how much time it would take the programmers, because we don't have a huge programming team. They are stretched on what they can do, and we want to add so much stuff. So we always have to prioritize what gets added first. So if we did see a port to Unreal 5, it would most likely take a lot of time away from updates and development of content, new features, which I'm not sure would be the best move right now, because Deadside, it does have a large presence. Well, not a large presence, but a decent presence on social media, YouTube. But its player base is not huge. I think it has around 1,000 players currently, which is not nothing, but that's also not it's not Rust size.
Like you're not in like in the big leagues yet.
You have to worry about your player count,
because it's gonna get there. I know it's gonna get there, especially with the how much you guys are putting out content and how people work. That's their main concern. There's just not enough content, but because then you also have eventually sometimes you have the bigger YouTubers like Aqua FPS comes out, makes a video here and there, and all of a sudden people flock back to the game. They see all the new updates, and then the cycle kind of repeats itself over and over again.
Yeah, so with a player base that small, you do have to maintain it with updates, or else your community will get disinterested. They'll go to other stuff, because this is a very competitive genre of game, at least right now. There's a lot of competitors out there. There's AZ, Rust, those are the big ones. Markov takes a decent chunk of our community whenever it wipes. Stuff like that. So for an Unreal 5 port, to get back to that, as much as I'd like to see it, I don't know if we can, because it'll just take so much time away from content updates, which is something we just have to do. And I think that's something we should do anyways. I mean, we have to finish our game. Our game is unfinished. Literally, it's a beta game. So a big priority should be getting it done. There's also the question of, I don't know how what Unreal 5 would improve upon currently. It'd make the game look better. I don't know if it'll necessarily make it run better. it might have the opposite effect. I'm not sure. I'm probably not the best person to speak
I could
up,
see the team looking, once the game is complete, everything, all the updates are there, then maybe, all right, we'll look at maybe porting it.
There you go. Yeah. But, yeah. And maybe opening it up for modding too. It's kind of the same boat. Where
that I remember, it's I don't know if you said that. I remember hearing about that though. Just like modding will be a thing, but you have to wait till the game's finished first.
Yeah, we want to finish our game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think modding for a beta game that's getting updates every now and then it
would break every mod, every update, pretty much.
You can't stabilize modding community, and just as the same with porting it to Unreal 5, you'd have to take a lot of time away from content updates to make the game moddable. But honestly, this game, Deadside, is pretty much perfect as a modding game when it is finished, because it's Unreal 4. Modding Unreal 4 is not...
It's going to be pretty easy to bring over, even already existing mods, probably.
I've worked with this game. Not super hard to work with, to be honest. A lot of it is... I mean, I can't go and program stuff, but messing with the existing things is pretty easy because it's Unreal. And that's... I mean, I don't know if you messed around with Unreal, but adjusting variables and rerouting stuff is relatively
where's my
simple.
Unreal Engine cinematic camera?
Yeah. There you go.
I know.
I love that thing. So useful.
I know you love it. That's why I want it.
I know.
But I get the reason why. I get the reason why. But I mean, anything else in store? I think we covered most of the feature stuff for Deadside.
Let's see. Let me think. We did cover wolves and what they might be hunting. I'm glad you guys noticed that we're having more than just one animal being added, because that's important. Big city. We got prone. We got weapon redesign. We got cars at some point. There's so much more that I wish I could tell you guys, unfortunately, but it's not a good idea.
Understood. You have to come back when it happens.
Gotta keep the suspense. Yeah. I mean, what's the timeline looking like? I mean, estimate, I guess.
For roadmap completion or the next update?
I would say for the rest of the year, because next year is different, I would say.
Fair enough. We usually do a Halloween update with Halloween themed stuff.
It's true.
So I would expect something around that time. I'm not going to guarantee it, because in the past we have had our Halloween update like a month late. So it depends on what happens. And I think that update will have the next update's going to be pretty large. Hopefully, at least next content update, because it's going to have the big city most likely. It's going to have possibly the animals. I mean, it's hard to say exactly what will make it into the update because it's so early right now. I mean, next week.
Pretty early. Okay.
Yeah. Something could break next week and it'll have to be completely remade, and it's pushed back a month. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt here. This is not like, city confirmed next update.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden people are like, well, he said in the Disco podcast that,
yeah. People are pretty good about not doing that, though, thankfully. That's one of the few things I was expecting to be a bit of a challenge. But no, I think they're good about understanding when is...
especially when the boats are getting delayed. People were like, it's all right, take your time. You'd rather it work than be broken.
Yeah, I do think we'll get most of the roadmap done this year. There might be one or two things that are done maybe early next year, like February, something like that, where we couldn't quite get it done in time. But I mean, it's already mostly complete, this roadmap. There's just a few things that we haven't really shown yet, like new missions. I think base functionality design is actually extremely important to the gameplay loop. If people don't make bases, you kind of miss out on a bunch of stuff. So we need to make people make bases. And how do you do that? You make bases more useful, right? I have a bunch of ideas there. So stuff like that, we'll see. I think we'll get it when we finish a lot of the big features we've been working on. We'll have a lot more time to start working on those.
The quality of life features like that.
Yeah. And a lot of this stuff we've been working on for a while too. Update 0.7.0 is sort of, which is the recent one. It's kind of just stuff we've been working on the side compiled into one update. That makes sense. It's a bunch of quality of life stuff.
So not even like the big stuff yet.
No, that's all still being worked on. All the big content things like Prone, New City. That's where most of the team's effort is right now.
Nice.
Well, I'm excited, man.
I think that should really give people reassurance that are thinking about picking up the game. Is I mean, there are obviously a lot more coming to the game. That's been really my only criticism of the game, is there needs to be more to do, and it sounds like that's exactly what's being worked on. So I'm definitely going to keep up on it.
Yeah, I mean, even when you come back, there still might not be enough stuff to do. And I always tell people it is a beta game. And if you ever get bored with it, it's not a bad thing to take a break and come back later. Like, that is kind of the most we can ask for. You know, we don't expect you to sit down and play an unfinished game 24/7. That's a bit unreasonable. So
I respect that take. And I also totally agree with it, because when I came back and Blue invited me to his server, man, we had a ton of fun, dude. We did those
you mained it for a bit, man.
Yeah, we did those arena fights, and I built the base back up, and I just haven't had to get back in there since the wipe, but yeah,
good time.
It's cool.
If you start to get burnt out, take a break, play something else, wait for an update, come back, and there you go.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else to cover. I have random stories if you guys want random development stories that I don't think people have heard very much.
I know we were talking about real quick the ducks.
Oh yeah,
and their audio.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we were talking about that before the we started the podcast. So the ducks, before they had finished audio, we needed some placeholder audio so we can make sure at least the audio structure is functioning if it's actually playing the audio clips. So we had I think the lead programmer just sit down in his office and make some duck noises with his microphone.
Is he like going like quack quack kind of like?
Really? Yeah, straight up. He was saying quack 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 when the ducks would fly up. You shoot them. He made this wonderful death noise.
A duck death noise? All right.
Yeah,
just him screaming though.
It wasn't even a scream. Just like, I don't know how to describe it. You guys got to hear it at some point.
I would say if you can get a chance to post it on the Twitter, do it. I think that'd be so hilarious.
Wonderful. And we also mentioned the boats too. How the boats got delayed. And that was a whole process.
I mean, I remember seeing the little compilation video of just the way the boats flipped around and flew across the map. And
I love that clip. I was so happy to let me make that, by the way. I mean, how many? You're literally making
not too many dev teams will show that part. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, getting water. Yeah, that was a whole process. And I guess for people who aren't familiar with vehicle programming, it's very challenging. You have to synchronize the server and the clients and all the clients together. When I say clients, I mean players, so your computer. You have to synchronize all that. So in order to do that, you have to network a physics simulation, right? So all the data that's associated with the physics simulation has to be sent out to everybody's computer and synchronized. But the thing that sucks is that physics simulations, as you could probably guess, are large and complicated. So trying to synchronize that at the same time without huge issues is a really big challenge. And we actually had to rewrite the net driver for Unreal Engine to even get them to work to begin with. It just straight up would not work with the it wouldn't work with the straight up Unreal net driver, I believe. So we had a lot of different versions, and people always back in 2022 we had boats on our roadmap, and we gave a estimate. I think a month. I forgot what month. We missed it by like 8 months because we would get close to finishing the boats. You look at it like, yeah, it looks great. I mean, it's running fine on our computers. It's on a small test server. It's okay. Everything's synchronized up. And then we do a closed test with people in the Deadside Discord. I think you're part of that, right?
Yeah.
We bring in people to test. We get a full server. We'd run the boats, and everything would crash. And the programmers would look at it and be like, "Yep, we need to start from scratch." That happened probably 3 times at least.
Remember, after a while, you guys were like, "All right, we'll let you guys know when it's done. We're gonna stop saying next month." Yeah.
Exactly. And that was my first experience as community manager. Was dealing with that whole thing. That was fun. Yeah.
Which again, like you said, the reaction to it wasn't as negative as I thought it was going to be.
Me too. Yeah. But we still get comments that it took us way too long to add boats and we still need cars. That's still a big thing. But that's the fun of developing. And we got there too. I'm really happy we finally have these boats in the
And not just one boat, but two boats.
Two boats, yeah. I think they're really fun. Some of my most...
I like the rib.
Yeah, me too. I think my favorite memories of playing Deadside, at least recently, is shooting people in a boat from a boat. Just doing crazy PvP combat.
Just the naval battle, which I'm glad I got second place in that competition.
Yeah, it was a good video.
The boats are cool, and the thing that I was pretty excited when they were. I was like running around, and I can't remember, it was like my N key or whatever, and I put earmuffs on, and I'm like, what? Why do I need earmuffs? What the hell? And then I get in the boat, and I'm like, oh, this is why I need earmuffs. And
yeah, they're loud.
Because I can't hear anything.
That was excellent QOLs right there. Quality of life right there.
Yeah, that was we didn't even have earmuffs when it went into closed testing. Actually, a bunch of the closed testers were like, "Hey, this sucks. Give us earmuffs," because they were turning their game audio down, so they threw that together.
My eardrums are bleeding.
Nice.
It was a little painful, but
no, that's cool.
Oh man, testing the boats was a fun experience too, because you got this fancy debug menu where you can adjust speed. So I remember myself and a couple other closed testers were turning the speed up to maximum and going off these ramps and just going over half the map in like 2 seconds.
Give me that. Fun. Give us that back.
Oh, it would crash the game so quickly though if you did it wrong.
That's probably fine. No, that's cool. I like your stories behind that.
Yeah. But yeah.
Cool, man.
I do have one last thing for you.
Hit me.
Or you kick me out.
Hit me.
Okay, so a lot of people ask all the time, why don't we sponsor YouTubers more? Right? We have new updates coming out, like we're talking about right now, and there's not much coverage on YouTube. We're working on cars. I won't really talk about that. You see all these new features, big city, and I mean, I don't think we've done a sponsored video in a while since 0.5.0, which is months ago.
Long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's because we, as developers, we know how far away we are from having a complete game, right? So we want to wait until we have the best possible chance to promote the games, that when we do, it will retain players more. Because if we do sponsored videos right now, when the game is, I mean, it's fun, but it's not going to be as good as next update, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously, it's not going to have big city, it's not going to have prone. So I think we know the potential our game has, and we're waiting for those big features that everybody wants before we really promote it, which I think makes sense.
That's really smart, I think.
Yeah. But in the meantime, it's not most fun because you don't have a big community to play around with. So
right,
you do have to worry about content. But there's so much work to be done, and the guys are ready for it.
That's good to hear. That's reassuring to hear. And I think that's smart because, you know, when you do drop those features and you do those like ad campaigns and stuff, that's when you're going to get the most people and the most new players, and you want to put the best foot forward. You want to show them the best version and retain. So that makes sense for the
there's so many early access games that just they keep sponsoring during their early access. And I like the way you guys focus, like this is a beta, treat it as such, instead of where now the term beta game in general just kind of goes like, oh, this is just the full game, just updates.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. That's not how beta games work. So I like how you guys take that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's I completely forgot what I was going to say. Wow, I just completely brain farted. That doesn't happen.
I've never done that. I've never done that.
Never done that?
You've never done that?
No, I do it every week. I do it every week. I do it all the time.
Yeah, that's I remember. It came back to me. We always want to put our best foot forward with the updates. So when we release a feature, we don't want it to be releasing super buggy. Even though we are an early access game and we could use it, oh, you know, it's early access, we could use that excuse. We don't want to.
No one does that.
We really don't. Which is part of why we've waited so long to put cars in. We want to get our vehicle architecture done first. Both. We want to get the inventory set up like I was talking about. We want to get the netcode figured out. We want to get everything ready so that when you do have cars, you get there and it's good. It works. It's solid. and there's still more to be done with vehicles, to be honest. I'm personally not a huge fan of the fact that they despawn. You can't store them permanently. I think it would be great if you could store just have your car in your base and that's yours. That would be great.
I would like that.
That's something I want to see, and I think we'll see that eventually. It's a bit of a challenge because you can hoard vehicles, so you have to consider that. You have to consider netcode too. You have to have enough vehicles for people to use. If you only have 10 cars on the server, they get locked away all the time. Nobody has a car. Why'd you add them in the first place? Right. So, a lot to consider, a lot to do. We're thinking about it.
No, that's cool.
That makes you guys figure it out.
It makes a lot of sense, and I respect a lot of the things you said and your honesty and how you guys are approaching it. And I hope it pays off because, I like to see that because there's a lot of other games that don't do it that way, and they're constantly asking for crowdfunding and they're constantly pushing out early access stuff.
I think one specific game that released recently that might be what you're thinking of.
Yeah, Dead Matter's a scam. I'll call that one out. That thing's
there it is.
a joke.
There it is.
You don't have to say anything. I'll do it. Don't worry.
I'll do it.
Thank you. Well, I think that's all I have for you guys.
Cool.
Ooh.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for popping in, and I'm excited to check this stuff out and see where it's at because I really like the foundation that the game is right now. Excited to see you guys build onto it.
For sure. Yeah, thank you for having me on. This has been fun. I talk about Deadside for hours, so I love this.
Sounds good. We'll have to do it again when you get
back on.
Win cars. You have to come back on.
For real, right?
Cars.
Yeah. Sure, we'll have a lot to talk about then.
All right. Heck yeah, man. All right, guys. Blue and I are going to be back. We're going to take like a really short break, and we'll hit the rest of the topics. We're going to talk about Division 3 boundary on console and some other things, and we will be back shortly.
See you. Bye.
And we're back. Oh, that's the wrong thing.
God damn it.
I had one chance and I missed it.
Nope. It was the programming team. It's not us. Not us.
Production team. We're hiring because he's about to get fired again.
Again.
I suck. All right.
No one edit that part out.
I doubt it. What have you been playing, man? I didn't even talk to you at the beginning. We had Loaf on.
Well, we had a guess. It's different, it's different.
Absolutely. It was cool that I will say, I want to say it publicly. I super appreciate his time. That was really cool to talk to him. And I'm a fan of the game and excited to see where it goes. It looks cool.
It's just cool to see early access games doing it right, especially when you take like Deadside, Road to Vostok, stuff like that. Just like that, especially because they're like in that same genre, the open world survivals, Eastern Europe shooter, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
it's just because I love that atmosphere, Stalker, stuff like that. So it's just so cool to see that they're doing it right.
Yeah, there were so many times he said stuff that like I really respected and appreciated. It's like when we release stuff, we want to make sure it's done. Like we want to make sure it works, and we don't want to play the early access card all the time. Like
even though they could, but they're not going to, which is really it's on a good shoulder.
And it makes sense what they're doing with holding off on crazy marketing until they're more finished and more to their vision. And I like to hear that kind of stuff.
Working in silence.
I like that a lot. I respect it and I wish them well for sure. Do you want to talk about Division 3?
Hell yeah, I want to talk about Division 3.
I think, not to burst your bubble, but to burst your bubble. It's way too early to talk about it, but let's do it anyway. Isn't it? Isn't it like crazy early?
It's okay. It definitely is, but because of Heartland next year, I think we can talk about more just like what do you expect the Division 3 to be?
Yeah.
Because if Heartland's any good indication, I'm not saying it's gonna be a hardcore shooter. It's not gonna have bullet sponges. I know people on Twitter, I know like specifically Deef and Tacty were talking about it just like once it got announced and stuff like that, and Buzz Lightbeer as well too. I know he's a big Division content creator, and a lot of people are just looking forward to the day the Division doesn't have bullet sponge enemies, because I think that's when its true potential will come out. Because you kind of have that in Heartland already.
Yeah.
Where they're not super spongy. You still got to shoot them a few times. And depending on the type of gear you have, if it's too low tier, you're not going to be able to do much to the higher tier guys. But if you have the higher tier weapons, it's almost you're on the same playing field, which it should have been like that since the start in every division. But, you know, metas come through and different sets of armor and guns and stuff like that and skins. But I mean, now people are saying that it's going to be also set in New York again, which I don't know how I feel about that. I really think it could be, I mean, they had DC for Division 2, and then, you know, then they also, as a DLC, went back to New York in the Division 2. So to make the Division 3 in New York again, unless you're continuing the story, possibly. I don't know if you have any locations.
No, I think they should keep moving west, like do a West Coast now. Like they've done Washington and they've done DC and they've done New York, right? And now they're moving to the Midwest. I think they should keep moving west, and I think people would like to see an LA one. I feel like it would be like another
West
big
Coast
change.
would be sick, yeah. Or like Marquez said, Las Vegas, that would be sick.
Vegas would. I change. I go Vegas. That's pretty far west.
Vegas would be sick.
That'd be sweet. Yeah, you can make so many cool visuals with the strip and stuff. Yeah, that would be cool.
But it's just cool that they went out and confirmed it anyways, because
and the reason
people were asking about that.
Yeah, and the reason that it's a thing is because they announced it like a new game. What is he? I got it. Flashbang. Executive producer for the Division brand, Julian Girardi, is returning to the brand. He helped usher into the world. He's been appointed executive producer for the Division brand. He will make the move once Star Wars Outlaws, the game he's currently overseeing as creative director, has shipped. So he's working on Star Wars Outlaws. That's like the Ubisoft, like, not an MMO, is it? Is it like an open world Star Wars?
It's almost open world RPG almost. It feels like people are comparing Star Wars Outlaws to like the Red Dead Redemption of Star Wars, pretty much.
Right. Okay. And he was on the Division, the original Division, as associate creative director. So he was like the second in command on the original Division. So now he's returning to, and this is like super official. On the Ubisoft news page, he and his team crafted a new venture, Summertime Streets. Want to see now he's setting his sights on Tom Clancy's The Division 3, as well as a plethora of other projects set in the Division universe. So I mean, even talking about other stuff, they go on to say mobile game, Division Resurgence, and survival action shooter, The Division Heartland. So is the Division Heartland like not necessarily a mainline Division title?
It's a spinoff.
I guess it's a spinoff.
It's a spinoff. Yeah, it's almost like I'm trying to think. It's like a Rainbow Six Extraction, almost, where it's like that type of like it's still Rainbow Six, but it's not Rainbow Six.
So for the people who are like worried that the Heartland is a survival shooter and it's not like the original Divisions, you know, purely, there'll probably be a return to form here with this one. So, you know, that probably,
which is kind of upsetting for me, because again, I feel like they could take a lot of cues from Heartland, especially the slower paced you know, open world, checking out the city and stuff like that, which you can do a little bit, and especially with the first division. And I remember playing it recently now, and I added some mods as well too. But the atmosphere, the snowstorms that come through, the lighting, I think, in my opinion, maybe because of the time of the year, it's Christmas and stuff like that. But I think it looks better than Division 2, especially when the survival DLC came out. And if they take cues from that, oh man, perfect game. Not perfect, but definitely it's gonna be a great game if they, because I think that DLC was one I think a little bit slept on, because it sucks that it basically made the game what it should have been, but you had to pay for it on top of the base game price. So it kind of sucks when it came to that. I know it's probably on sale now, but yeah. I mean, if the guy worked on the Division 1, I feel like he's a good fit to return back into the Division franchise.
I need to try the Division 2, but this should get like OG fans really excited. I feel like the Division 2 has been supported like up until this day, right? They're still doing updates.
Yeah, they're
to that
still
game,
doing stuff. I would definitely roll with you, because there's definitely a lot to learn. But I would say too, when it comes to the Division 2, even in the first division, their early levels, in my opinion, are the better experience. When it's like the early levels, when enemies are still one hit, you know, one shot. You don't have that many meds, you don't know the game too much, so you're still like, you're moving cover to cover. Whereas once you get to the higher tier levels, especially with the PvP aspect, I mean, you can basically make a build where you could just get shot a million times and just re-heal yourself or re-armor yourself, and it's just like, if you did no work whatsoever. So the early levels are probably the best time to play.
Nice.
And the campaign and the storyline, that's what I like the storyline of the Division series. The whole, you know, green virus and stuff like that. So I'm really curious what if they add something, the coof.
You can't say that.
You can't say that. If YouTube's gonna demonetize this now, great.
Yeah, we're done.
Who cares? I'm curious what that'll be, just like in general, of what that if it's, because, and then you also had like the rogue agents and stuff like that too, and that whole spiel and that storyline. So it can kind of just really go anywhere. And if they do end up back in New York, which I hope not, it will probably most likely follow Warlords of New York DLC, probably something along those lines. So, which was the DLC for Division 2.
Man, I gotta figure this. I gotta re-download the Division 2 when I'm done messing around in Starfield. Cool. So if you read into this far further than you should, which is something that I like to do, this would also lead you to believe that the Star Wars Outlaws game is pretty much probably complete, huh? Because if he's already talking about what's next for him, you would think that it's probably pretty much out the door.
I mean, he's overseeing all games and products, so that's a big
this guy's the real deal
of Ubisoft. Yeah, what's a Julian? I don't know, honestly.
I kind of want to call him Get Righty, but that's not it.
Get right.
Get right.
Get right.
Get righty. Get righty.
Someone's gonna correct us in the comments.
Let's just call him Julian.
Garrity. Oh, Garrity.
Garrity.
Julian Garrity. Thank you.
Man, you guys are great. Garrity. All right.
Garrity. Thank you.
No disrespect. Shout out. Shout out. Get Julian.
Butchering his name at the end.
Just ripping it up. Just shout out, dude. We love you. But no, that's cool to see. And I mean, that would get like I said, the people that played the beta of the Division Heartland and didn't like the directions it was going should be able to rest easy knowing that another mainline Division 3 title is coming from the same person who oversaw a lot of the original one.
I think people thought Heartland was the next iteration of the Division series, and people were upset about that. So yeah, because then all he had was Resurgence, which was the mobile port, and then Heartland. So,
and I just like
now,
the fact.
Want to put money on when it's going to come out?
Jesus. 2027, maybe, right?
I could say 2020, late 2025, holiday 2025.
That's ambitious.
Is that ambitious?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? Because you have Heartland and the Resurgence. Okay, I would say it's either holiday 2026 or early 2027.
I would go with that. I would sign off on that. Rain, yeah, we're awesome journalists. That's why we know how to pronounce everyone's name. Shout out Julian Garrity.
I'm gonna say get right. Get right.
It's hard not to say that.
Julian Get Right Garrity.
Hey, why don't you change your name? You're welcome. Change it to Get Righty, and then you're gonna get righty on the Division franchise, and everyone's excited. But I do like to see, from like an overall like bird's eye view of everything, it's cool to see franchises getting this kind of support because they're supporting the shit out of 2. And then I feel like Heartland's gonna hit, and Heartland will be probably supported. They'll be adding a lot of content story wise to that extraction shooter up until Division 3. So I mean, if you're a Division fan, I feel like you're gonna be eating good for a while, huh? Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Like, take it that way.
100%.
So yeah, I don't know what kind of gameplay changes they would make. I mean, I'm sure things are.
That one's too early to tell.
Super early. Yeah. I wonder if there'll be any kind of fad or anything like the extraction shooter thing hit. So that's kind of what Heartland is. I wonder if there'll be some kind of new weird. What if they make Division 3 a BR?
Maybe the black zone. What's it called again? Dark zone. Will be different than your older dark zones. So
the dark zone.
We'll see. The dark zone.
Nice.
But no, that's about it.
So it has potential. We'll keep our eye on it.
And we'll keep an eye on it.
For sure.
Oh man. Now the next topic was more, I feel like more of a quick shot.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think it wasn't a huge topic. But
it is. We're quick shot.
Just a little cool thing I saw.
I'll even give you one of those.
Out of here. Quick shot.
Woo.
Boundary. You guys remember that game that kind of just went off the radar for a bit for a lot of people, which completely understandable. It's made by again, great research team here, guys. Don't worry about us. We know exactly what we're doing because we're professionals at this. But I remember playing the beta, and I thought it was a really cool aspect. It's basically an FPS in space, but it's like a proper space FPS where you have a full 360 degree of motion. You can fight upside down, not knowing you're upside down. You know, there's the whole pack that you have that basically allows you to move. The gunshots, the guns themselves are like really made for space. There's no laser guns as well too. It's not like a futuristic, not too futuristic, I should say. There's like a space AK, space AR, space shotgun, space Mosin. Literally, they just took a Mosin, painted it white, and go, here you go, put it in space. But the cool part is, and I knew it was coming to console, but the fact that it finally got announced that it's being built or being ported over to the PlayStation 5. So for console players who are looking for a new FPS game to get into, Boundary is probably going to be your next game you want to check out. I would definitely keep an eye on it when it comes out. Currently, it is now $24.99. The sad part is it is sitting at mostly negative reviews on Steam, but I think the player base, because it's only on PC, is dead. So basically, you can't get. I hate that people give it a bad review. They say, in most of the reviews, you can go look at it right now, like, oh, the game's great, but the player base is dead, so it's a bad game. That's kind of unfair to say about a game.
Yeah.
And especially because it's not, again, servers work, the gameplay mechanics work, there's not too many bugs. It's just no player base. So I think console will help revitalize it. I'm curious if it's still going to be $24.99. I think they could lower it because of the lack of content. It's kind of just your basic. You have your one life modes. You know, you got your, like, I think you have S&D. if I remember correctly. You have something along those lines. So search and
There
destroy in
is?
space. I believe so. I think there is a one life mode, but you also have your standard TDM and free for all and stuff like that. So, but you have your objective game mode. I remember correctly. So, yeah. Again, just gotta wait until console comes out, which they did say possibly. They of course they did say that they've been quiet lately, so they kind of went radio silent. And of course, I literally was looking up the publisher. Yeah, Huya Games is the developer. Skystone Games is the publisher. Sorry, studio. Developer Studio Surgical Scalpels. Sorry, publisher Skystone Games. Huya
We're
Games.
good journalists.
So
trust us.
Well, people say that see Huya Games, they go, "Oh, it's just a Chinese game." Like, nah.
That's racist.
It's a fun game. It's a fun game. People have legit complained. It's like, oh, it's you see all these skins in the game. It's just all they just want to sell you skins. You know, that's the whole point. It's like, well, there's actually a good game underneath it. You don't have to buy the skins.
Blue, I hated the game, man.
Oh, Boundary?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I
know you didn't like the whole
I think it's because I'm old. I think
people
I didn't get enough time, probably. I probably didn't get enough time. The 360 enemies could be anywhere kind of thing. I could not figure out game flow. And one of my favorite things about FPS games is like trying to predict what the enemy's gonna do and the flow of the map and like use positioning and shit like that.
I think to be honest, there were lanes. I think you needed to give it just a little bit more time because there was definitely some. I put a good amount of time. And there were because they would be and not lanes because the map was designed that way. Only because there was cover in those areas. And you can kind of see into where the bomb would be or stuff like that, or the capture point would be. So
yeah, I couldn't get the flow of combat down.
It's more open. I get it. No, I definitely get it. It's not meant for everyone for sure.
I think it's a little bit weak in the areas that I look for in a shooter. That one, and like also
what would be your...
I like to be able to like predictable like game flow, and then I also like a lot of different maps and a lot of variety, and there's not much you can do in space. It's like it's a bunch of
that's
shit
true.
In
it's
space,
all the same space station.
And it all looks the same.
Yeah, I get that.
Which also might lead to.
I will say it's not so. That's why I say lower the price because it's not going to be anyone's main game. Hell, it's not even my main game. Like it won't be ever. But it's just a fun, hey, let me just get a couple rounds in. All right. Move on to the next update, whatever it is, stuff like that. It's just, good to kind of come back to pick up every now and then. It's not, that's why I think $24.99, maybe even lower to like $20, $19.99. I think that'd be decent. But I don't know. The fact that people are just saying bad game because dead, like.
No, that's not cool. To be fair, I do really, really appreciate him doing something different. It's very rare to see something that radically different in the shooter space. Even if I didn't enjoy it, I respect that fact a lot. And maybe the fact that it is all like different shaped space stations in like the same space area, my brain couldn't wrap around that it is different. And that's why I had a hard time learning the maps and the areas and stuff. I'm not sure. It could totally be my fault, but like I appreciate what they did. But to see it come to console in a place that needs a lot more different kinds of shooters is really good to see, and I hope it works out.
And it's a pretty fast time to kill too, as well.
But
so it's not super fast, but if you get those headshots, you're pretty like 3 shots and they're dead. But if you get the body shots or if you shoot them from behind, like their pack actually takes some of the damage before you start hitting them as well too. So there's like a little bit of an armor system in that game.
Are you ready? Are you ready for my controversial and potentially very professional and cool segue to the next?
Quick shot.
I worry that a lot of people won't play it on console because there's really only one shooter that people play on console, and that's Call of Duty because it has really strong aim assist and it doesn't let people play other games. Okay, so that's controversial, but I want to talk about this clip. I'm a mouse player. I have to talk about this clip. And again,
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And again, just like the Drop Shot boys said, if you're a controller player and you use aim assist, this has like nothing against you. You have it, use it, it's in the game. But this is so funny, and it illustrates what I said. And I wanted to talk about it on this show because I take it much deeper than a lot of people are saying. So what it is a clip by Connie90, I don't know, on X, Coon or Co190, I don't know. 90 over on X. Yesterday there was a Black Ops 2 tournament and the best COD players had difficulty with target because aim assist was so weak, and you see it. So they had a bunch of Call of Duty professionals do a throwback tournament on Black Ops 2, and they couldn't hit anything because they were trying to AD strafe and just let the aim assist take over. Which in the newer games, I've plugged in my controller to feel it, and you literally can strafe and barely touch the right stick and it will lock on people as long as you use the strafe. Now, I'm not talking about skill. I'm not talking about if you use this like you don't have skill. There are ways to use this and get really good with it, and you can be better than other people with this. However, what I think this does, and one of the reasons I worry about games like Boundary is when Call of Duty players even go to play older ones, people play Call of Duty on console. It's the biggest shooter, obviously. And when they go to play other games, it's very frustrating because Call of Duty is so unique with how the aim assist works, and it makes people not want to play any other games. I have really good friends that are controller players that won't play any other game with me, that don't play any other games. And when Call of Duty's not fun, like they just don't play. And I think it's a way, like, I don't even know if it's planned or not, but monetarily and marketing wise, this works out so good for Call of Duty because there are a huge number of people that will only play Call of Duty and won't play anything else. And I think sometimes it's because people try other games and they're used to aim assist and they don't like it.
I think that's a big factor, as much as people that probably don't want to admit.
But yeah, I'm not even
when they switch games and there's not that strong of an aim assist, they go, this game, I just can't get over that hurdle.
And it feels different or weird. And I really am not attacking anybody's skill because it's not like, it's just in the game. Like it's in the game and it's how the game works, and you can get good with it and with those mechanics. But like seeing like some of the best Call of Duty players in the world just play an older one that has weaker aim assist and not be able to hit anything and struggle so much, it's like crazy, man. It was crazy. So
like, I haven't played Call of Duty on a controller since Black Ops 2. So I don't remember too much about the aim assistant, and I haven't played it on the new Call of Duties to really, feel a difference. So it's like, I don't remember. I mean, because I'll be honest, I was like, for some reason on controller back in the day, I was popping off. I would always get positive KDs. I don't know, just the way it was. But I guess also because I was, I had time back then. It's just looking at it, I guess they're so used to the movement in the new Call of Duties that when they try to apply that here.
Yeah. And what people were saying, like their counter arguments were, well, it's a different engine. It's only 60 FOV. The aim assist just feels different. It's not weaker or whatever. And I was like, I'm not even like coming at it from that angle. What I'm coming at it from is Call of Duty is like so unique in how strong the aim assist is. It makes people not play any other game because they're so used to it. It's not like a mouse where like a mouse is just raw mouse input. It aims where you go. So I play a lot of different games and I'm okay at them. But like, I don't know. And I used aim assist a lot when I played this with controller.
But you gotta change your, you change your settings and your sensitivities per different game.
I make them match. Yeah, I make them match.
So
I actually have pieces of tape on my desk that I use to mark out my 360 distance. Yeah. Yeah. And I know, and what Frosty's saying in chat, I know people would think this, that like I'm attacking controller players and thinking they're ass because the game aims for them. I only say that when I'm getting destroyed in search, like, and I'm maybe drunk. I don't mean it. What I'm just trying to, and I know the reason it's there is because there's crossplay and they have to make controller be able to compete with a mouse and keyboard. But I think just it's a little bit too far. Like it's a little bit too far. So And I would.
You saw the opposite when Halo Infinite came out originally.
Yeah.
And it was or was it Halo Infinite or Halo 5?
It might have been the Master Chief Collection.
Or Master Chief Collection. That's what it was.
I think
that game was built for controller. And then you put mouse players into it, and then you really saw the advantages that controller players had,
you
and
have
PC
to have,
players could not keep up.
Yeah, you have to have some kind of aim assist. You have to, because I mean, there's nobody plays a controller on Rainbow Six Siege on PC because there's no aim assist, and you'll just get throttled by mouse players. Like I fully understand and see the reasoning behind it. I just thought this was eye-opening that even the craziest and best players in the world on Call of Duty like rely on the aim assist so much and cheese it so much. And that just got me to thinking, it's like, how many people do that? How many people rely on it? And then it makes it to where they don't want to play any other games. And there's so many other games out there to check out. And a lot of people just play Call of Duty. And that comes from some of those stats we saw in the Microsoft lawsuit. Like there's a staggering amount of people that only play Call of Duty. And there's like so many other cool games out there for shooters. So that's all I had. I just wanted to talk about it. I knew it would be controversial. People would get fired up.
Yeah.
I look forward to your comments. That's for sure.
Oh man.
Yeah, as far as next week, I think I'll be around. I should be here Monday. Actually, later in this week, I'm going on a hunt in wild hog hunt in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
In Oklahoma, I think I'm gonna take the SOCOM, and then I think next Tuesday or Monday I'll be here. There's a chance I want to set something up. I guess we can talk about it on here. I really want to set something up.
Yeah,
last year for a Call of Duty Next special edition podcast on the 5th. So during the Thursday the 5th, the Call of Duty Next goes on like early in the afternoon, like over the noon hour kind of. And what we did last year was right after that was over at our kind of our normal time, we went live, and people really liked that. Like we just like kind of like immediate reaction to everything going on.
Because everyone has something to say.
Yeah.
And they want to, yeah, exactly.
There's a whole lot to react to. So that might be something we do. The only thing is my niece might be bored. I might have a new niece that I have to go visit, and I would miss it. And I'm not sure of that, but I'd like to work that out. And potentially maybe the return of a former co-host. No, maybe.
That's it. That's all we're saying. Bye.
Okay. Have a great week. We love you all. We'll see you Monday. We'll see you Monday for sure. And next Monday we'll give you guys a definite answer on Thursday, because I'd like to pull that together. Yeah. Marquez talks about X Defiant. Yeah, I'm still excited for it. It's going to be a ways off, and I think that's fine. I'm a little bit bummed on the timing because it's going to butt it up right against Modern Warfare 3. I think they should wait until next summer, which sucks, but it would be the best for them. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Nope. I'm ready.
We'll talk more about that for sure as we get closer. We might have an X Defiant. We should have talked about X Defiant because of the delay and stuff, but we can talk about it next week a little bit more. But we'll keep an eye on.
Maybe we'll get some more news between that.
Hopefully. So, all right, guys. See you Monday for sure.
Probably not.
Potentially Thursday. I really hope so, because that episode was really fun last year.
I'm down to do that for sure. Yeah.
Sweet. I want to pull it together. So hopefully my niece stays just a little, blows it down. Okay. Just wait and then come out. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week. I love you all. Bye.